What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and with Adam Perry here, we're going to be doing the early preview of tonight's slate. Just a couple of announcements. Number one, Bobby is, again, he's not here, but he actually is made day 2 of the World Series of Poker main event, which is good news.
Day 3.
Well, it's actually day 2 for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's day 2. There's a whole bunch of day ones, and now they're all on day 2.
Okay.
I think. Unless he got through yesterday too? No.
He got through yesterday. Yeah, he posted something in Discord.
What did he say exactly?
See, I don't play poker, so I don't.
What did he say exactly?
He said, but overall a good day. We will see what day 3 brings. So
what's the whole post?
I did take a pic, but so Rody asked him about his stack. He didn't take a picture, but you could find it on the WSOP app. Ended the day with 213K, lost 4 pots of 100K. Plus,
I guess he is through day 2 then. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. There are only like 4 million people left. So he's
Yeah.
right. He's right there. Usually they make the money around day 5. So we got a little ways to go, but nonetheless, so he's out doing that. As far as baseball goes, at the end of this week, we're going to be heading next week into All-Star break. So next week, I think Monday through Thursday, there'll be no regular scheduled MLB slates. I myself have no interest in the All-Star game, but if you're going to play, you want to do some do a build, whatever, that's fine. That's literally the last thing I'm going to be.
Yeah, no thanks. Good.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's it. We'll start off again with, let's just see if we can identify any weather from today. Did you look at anything yet?
Yeah, there's like a couple yellows, but then you look at Roth's write-up and he's pretty confident in them. They're like, I'm going to be conservative early with this and make it yellow, but they all seem like they're going to play according to his write-up and not be an issue. So monitor it. You should always look before you build, especially closer to lock. But right now, it doesn't seem like weather issues. He did call out Boston for having good hitting weather. He said warm, muggy, winds out to left at 10 miles per hour towards the monster. So,
well, before I even run anything, I guess just gazing at it, it looks as though, I would imagine that Jacob deGrom at 10-3. He's showing up as, top projection by a decent amount, and ownership seems pretty healthy also. So I'm expecting, again, before the Sims kind of get a hold of it, I imagine deGrom and Kikuchi looks like, just again visually looks really low as far as price goes at 7,200.
Yeah, he's popping as the top value. It looks like
okay.
Point per dollar. At least in SaberSim's projections, you can see in Goldie's.
Yeah, I'm looking at who does Milwaukee play? The Peralta? Oh, the Dodgers. I was going to say. Okay.
Yeah. So Peralta's not going to look as good against the Dodgers, but like he could have a game.
And as far as hitting goes, when I'm looking at this first, I'm seeing. It's so funny you mentioned Roth's thing about Boston. I have Boston. All else being equal, just kind of dominating the projections. Both from a projection perspective and, serious ownership perspective. So I'm going to be curious to see what we get here. And before I forget, I also going to take a quick look at FanDuel, just my projections go, see if anything's different. No, not really. Once again, looks like deGrom would be the one that people would get to. And then once again, Boston. And then after Boston, I'm seeing some Toronto, Cincinnati, Kansas City, but I'm going to be curious to see what we do. So what we do.
Do you look on your projections, like when you look at Sheets' value score?
Yeah.
Do you look at the delta between like the top guy and the next guy?
Yeah.
Because deGrom's delta, the difference between him and Sanchez versus Sanchez and Bivey is enormous.
That's the thing. Yeah. So it's like deGrom and spread is basically the idea. And the other thing, again, for those of you that are not particularly well versed on it, is is yeah, as Adam was saying, what we put up on the site for members is kind of my own sort of home cooked ranking system. And if you look at Sheet's value score, it kind of like combines both point per dollar and raw points. There are very similar formulas like it that have been throughout the industry for like years. Like Roto Grinders had a thing called RG value. There are others. I think what's the name? What was Dink's site? Now I forget. Roto
ATR or Dink before
Daily
ATR.
Roto.
Daily Roto. Yeah,
they had one that was like it, and whatever it is. And if you do want to follow this, like I'm like just for this particular slate, what Adam's referring to is the you have DeGrom rated at the very very top, and then everybody else is really really close to one another. Also, just so you know, on a raw basis, like a number to watch for this number is 40. Like 40 in and of itself is a really really big number. So sometimes, like for example, like when you have these like ridiculous pitching slates, you'll have like the top rated guy only like a 30, and you just gonna kind of know that it's just you're gonna only need like 10 fantasy points like out of those guys or whatever. But sometimes back when Garrett Cole was really good and whatever, he had a bunch of 40s out there. So it's listen, it's more for hand building stuff. I mean, we really don't factor in too much of that stuff when we actually run the stuff. As a matter of fact, somebody asked me in the Discord channel once. He said, "Have you ever tried putting your using the Sheet's value score as the thing to optimize, like instead of the fantasy points?" And I mean, my answer is no. There's a lot of problems with that, but I've seen people try all kinds of stuff like that. Like so what people used to do when they were really into optimizer mode is
it makes more sense in optimizer mode.
Yeah, but even so, like so sometimes they would list the 50th percentile, the 99th percentile outcomes or whatever these players. Some people say, okay, if I'm trying to go for GPPs, let me just put the 99th percentile outcome instead of 50. But you know what people found? The differences was not that big between what you would get if you put the 99th percentile outcome in the 50s. But that goes back to, I think, back in the day before they actually like did ranges of outcomes for these pitchers, right. and these players. Anyway, so that's like back like when I'm using Max Fried as an example, but maybe he's not a good example. But even like Marcus Stroman, guys had good medians, but just no ceiling.
But back then, what people were doing is they'd have a standard deviation that was like, oh, hitters, they get this standard deviation,
right.
As opposed to doing the play-by-play sims where you realize that different hitters have different standard deviations.
Yep. Okay, so I have my DraftKings Saber Sim up here right now.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're both going to build stuff, and I'm going to build. We'll just say what we're going to do. I'm going to build with my projections, like what's called TrueDFS, and I don't know what Adam's going to do. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do different views. Like within this beta view, we could look at. I didn't even know you could do this. You could look at both what we would get when we would use the portfolio diversification tool. That's what I'm calling it nowadays. As opposed to when we're just going to diversify using the normal min uniques. And we talked to Jordan like last week about it, and got some interesting answers about some things that we were looking at. But one thing that was kind of clear is that when you go into portfolio diversification mode, you don't get those same like ultra high leverage like portfolios as you did when you just go to min uniques. And listen, we'll let the debate rage on. What's the best way to play?
Let me ask you a question. How many lineups are you building?
Okay, so I'm building 20,000.
Okay, so I'm going to build 20,000 too.
Yep.
And I'm not going to make any demands on stacks.
Me neither.
Okay.
Now here's another thing. So I am simming against the actual contests I'm in. Okay. So I am playing the rally, which is the 150 today. So that's good. That's going to be in there. Okay. And then a couple of big buy-ins. I'm playing a qualifier and whatever. So I'm letting the Sims just kind of do its thing with all the different contest
So
fields.
I have a question. This is a genuine question. This isn't like a
Well, they're all genuine
rhetorical
questions.
question.
Okay.
Yes, they're all genuine. But if the more lineups we build, do you think this is like a question, like a hypothesis, maybe a better way to put it?
Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to coalesce on actually similar teams? As about like if we were only building 5,000 using different projection sets, it would have to choose more of the lineups that are the better projected according to each set. But as we go out and out, it's going to get more from each team. And then when you sim against the field, the same team should be good against the field, right? The same stacks because the field doesn't change. We're both simming against the rally. And
both simming against the rally.
Does that make sense? So in 5,000 lineups, if you use your projections and it had Boston really good, maybe you'd get a pool where 20% is Boston. And if I used Goldie's, let's say Cincinnati was really good, I'd get a pool with 20% Cincinnati in 5,000. And that could really, there's only 5,000, so that could really affect when we run the sim how many of those teams we get. But as we do 20,000, we might get the same amount of Cincinnati and Boston, but we're also getting the other teams in the pool.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. I mean, it's a
so now which projections are you using?
Goldie's.
Okay. So let's so what we're looking at here is SaberSim kind of doing its thing in beta where it's doing everything normal that people are used to watching SaberSim do. It's running its sims, it's running its lineup builder, and then it is comparing the lineups to the contest fields that it projects everybody's going to play. But within beta, it's doing this last little thing where it says diversifying lineups, where it's kind of doing something a little different than just going with min uniques. And this is the thing we've been kind of experimenting with. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at, let's hit save all, I guess. Oh, we don't have to, yeah, so let's save all. Just so, well, I don't have to hit save all because it's already run.
You know what we should have asked Jordan? Can you diversify like in Portfolio Manager but use Saber Score, or is that just...
I don't think so.
I don't think you can do that, right?
No, that's a good question, actually. I doubt it. Okay, so I'm leaving everything in portfolio right now in portfolio diversity mode. So right now I am getting, let's see, pitching wise first, getting 45% DeGrom, 33% Sanchez, 22% Yamamoto, and 20% Kikuchi. What are you getting with if you're using we're using Goldie's?
Using Goldie's, I mean, I have a crazy different.
Let's go. Okay.
Yeah, crazy different and crazy leverage. So I've got 54% Sanchez, 36% Yamamoto, 25% Peralta, and then only 20% DeGrom.
And you are using in portfolio in diversification mode as well?
I'm not. So
well, that's what I was going to say. Okay.
Okay, so let's go. I'm not using the beta. Okay, so let's go to the beta and do it.
No, okay, then that's fine. So let me within beta then just change from what do you do min uniques 1 or whatever?
I have no uniques.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that then to min uniques 1 and see
in regular mode. Yeah.
So what we're now comparing honestly is how the builds look when the one difference is whose projections you're using. Right.
Where do you see the stacks I get?
So let's just see here. Oh, I'm sure DeGrom's not going to have a good day. All right, let's see. So let's just see again. So actually not that different actually. So I'm still, they don't want to give me leverage here. I don't know what to tell you. I'm getting still 37% DeGrom. It looks like. Let me just sim this again. Just give it a chance to do something different. But while that's happening, let me see what the team stacks would look like. Oh, it's actually still thinking here.
I think my answer is the more lineups we build, the more similar our portfolios are going to look.
Okay, let's see.
Because usually we get way different Goldies versus Sheets projections.
Is that right? I haven't even paid attention. Okay.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
usually,
Yeah.
and if we use SaberSim, we get different too.
Yes. Let's just see. So what are the stacks you're getting while we're thinking about this?
Okay. I have 87% Texas Rangers.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you got?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Starting over. I just wanted to sim it one more time. Let me just see. So one thing I have noticed, I mean, this is just for me, is that it is a little slow in this beta mode, but maybe it's slow all around nowadays. I don't know. It takes like a full minute to go through. Not that that's the end of the world, right? But
Yeah.
It does take a full minute to get through the here. Okay, so let's see.
I mean, we're simming 4 times as many lineups.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, okay. So when you are, it looks as though 49% Rangers when I'm in whatchamacallit, just min uniques mode. Okay. So
Okay.
like you are. So 49% Rangers and then 23% Angels and then 20% Miami. And then, but I'm still getting this like DeGrom. That's the one difference.
Interesting. Let's see who my second. I'm going to build with SaberSim's projections too.
Okay.
And let's see who we get to. Let's see who my second stack is. I mean, it doesn't even matter. There is no second stack.
And I'm looking 5-mans, 3. And how many lineups are you
ranking? Actually, this is 150 in the flagship. Okay. I mean, this is wild. 87% Texas, 48% Angels.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I'm getting here. They really have that game like in full Monty.
Yeah. Now let's see. That's Goldies versus yours, and we're similar. Now let's see using SaberSim.
Let me save these. Let me save these to my lineups just so I have them. Okay. Now, one other thing again that the beta is now doing is it's now also letting you sort by not just your percentage exposure, but by your monetary exposure, which is a good. Listen, it's a good thing to see. And I suggested to Jordan that why not, if you're going to be able to set limitations as far as how much percentage of a player you can have, why don't you put how much money percentage you could have as well? Right. And he said, it sounds like a good idea. So this is how these things start, I guess. Okay, and I was pitching. So now the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into portfolio diversification mode and see what the stacks look like over there. But you're right. I mean, when you do 20,000 lineups, it is going to take a little, obviously.
It's going to take longer, yeah.
And I wonder. And here's another question I have, by the way, for Jordan, or I could probably even get this from the Discord channel. Is if you build 5,000 lineups or 20, let's say you build 20,000 lineups in a sport like LOL or in a sport like
it explodes.
No. Will it? What I would love it for it to do is make sure that it provides the amount of dupes commensurate to that. Instead of saying ran out of lineups,
it just duplicates your lineups
or something like that. I don't know.
It actually, I mean, there's some sports where you're going to harm yourself by building more lineups, and LOL is one of them.
Absolutely.
Because what can happen for people this is what can happen. You build a lineup, you start building bad lineups, but you sim them, and there's variance in the sims. So you may just run a sim where the bad lineup happens to do well in that simulation, and then you end up playing the bad lineup. So
Right.
You want. There's a sweet spot here. Okay, let's see. If I'm using Saber Sim, I am going to get 70% DeGrom.
Yeah. So
But
so does this mean that like that Goldie's like very low on him?
maybe, but then
Is that not the
yeah,
case?
it must mean that. Let's see what the pool is. I have 75%. So I'm again on Texas and the Angels using Saber Sim. 75% Texas. So let's see what what the pool of DeGrom is if I just got less.
Yeah.
I have 28% DeGrom in the pool only.
28% in the pool, meaning the pool of 20,000?
In the pool of 20,000, I only have 5,600 DeGrom lineups.
So it's trying to get different. I mean, like, right? Because that's going to be more than the field. I mean, that's going to be less than the field.
It's less than the field. So Goldie's projections lead you to get less DeGrom in your pool. And having less DeGrom in your pool gets you less DeGrom in the Sims.
Gets you less DeGroms in the Sims. That is correct.
Yeah. Now, but as we increase, I mean, I'm harping on the same thing, but as we increase the raw number of stacks we have from different teams, even if we don't have a lot of Texas in the pool, that's no longer 200 lineups out of 5,000. It's maybe 1,000 out of 20,000. And so it still has a lot of Texas to choose from. So whether I use Saber Sim or Goldies, I get a boatload of Texas.
What did you think of the comment Jordan made? So this is what we were discussing with him. We were discussing like the differences between what you would get using the new portfolio diversification tool and what you'd be getting using the way that we used to playing. And we were commenting that, like we used to be able to be getting like 30, like 70% of like these stacks against like the top pitcher or something like that, and 34%, whatever, like a stack with like a three-point total or something, 3-run total. And he made some comment. I had to think about it a little bit. He said when we were looking at the build, kind of like the old way, he was commenting, well, see, when you're doing it like regular min uniques, you're getting 35% Kansas City in your exposures compared to only 3% of your pool. And he said, and you probably wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
So I don't know about that. I guess not, but I don't know. Like so I guess if you play that way, which is the way we've kind of been playing, is that you're really just you're gambling on the one stack being right, and just getting a bunch of combinations within there. I mean, I don't know if it worries me too much about getting 30% of a stack that's only 3% of the pool, if in fact it's just simming higher. I don't know what I think about that.
Yeah, but they sim higher indivially. Like each Kansas City sims high individually.
That's right.
But you're clumping.
That's
if you
right.
get a bunch of this is something I tried to do with the builder too, is like I would say, okay, I want to get I want to get more of a stack, keep my percentage of Kansas City's at 20% or something. If let's say I wanted a lot of Kansas City, but then still use uniques so that I don't get clumping within my stacks.
Right.
Because there's still plenty of ways to stack up a team with 9 hitters.
That is true. All right. So now the other thing, as when I was just looking at I'm a Bill FanDuel now, but when I was looking at DraftKings, I did notice that, and we'll look again, that I was getting a reasonable amount of 5-man stacks, such that not that I wouldn't pare it down, but now do you think that has something to do again with the fact that we have that many more? No, it couldn't be, right? Lineups.
I'm getting about the same number of 5s, but the more Okay, normally the more of something you have in your pool, the more of it you're going to get.
Yeah, I guess.
But in 20,000, not necessarily, because you have so much of everything from it to choose from. I don't know. I think as the number goes up, all these projection sources should coalesce into getting similar exposures in 150.
On this slate, what do you think about salary? Would you do anything with salary? Because I just even eyeballing it, I saw a whole bunch of lineups, like leaving like 1,500 or so on the table. With that,
Yeah.
because this is one of those like cutoff points where they let you play 48,000 to 49,000.
I left it at 48. This is another thing. The more lineups you can build, the more you could let it do its thing. If you only get 5,000,
Right.
you may say, look, I need the 5,000 that are going to project the best, and those are at 4,900 or something. But the more you have, like this also changes that debate we had about should you only build a priori with 5-man stacks.
Right.
But if you get 20,000, you don't have to make the most of it like you do with 5,000. So the more you can build, the more leeway you can give it, I think.
The more you could build, the more leeway you could give it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is definitely true. I think that's true. Yeah,
it's true.
Sure that's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's a caveat. Everything
I'm at least 40% sure that's 30%.
Yeah,
true.
I have the caveat. Everything I say here should just has an I think in front of it.
Oh, absolutely. That's what DFS is, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let me run FanDuel and see what that does. And I mean, on a one pitcher site, I'm just gonna find it hard to believe that no matter what you do, that you're gonna end up with just a carload of DeGrom. But who knows? Let's see what it does. Maybe this is another Tyler Anderson day. You know, I doubt it. I mean, I think that. Well, again, it depends on how much they really, really like the Red Sox. I mean, you can't have both. I mean, you can't play both DeGrom and Red Sox.
On FanDuel you can't?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can, but you're going to be super chalky is what I'm saying.
Right, but maybe, I mean, sometimes something projects
that's just that much better, I guess.
I mean, I don't think it does, but there's times.
Let's take a look. So, I mean, who would even project all that? I guess the Red Sox, I suppose. Those are the projecting so great, but why are the Red Sox all of a sudden like?
It's Colorado in Boston.
I guess so.
The weather too.
Yeah.
If the weather is like Roth said.
Yeah.
That could have to do with it.
Well, you guys are seeing me fire off FanDuel and stuff. Oh, and here's another thing again. I keep on doing this. People keep asking. When you use custom projections here, you'll see that they color code the differences. They won't tell you the actual difference, but they color code the difference between yours and whatever you put up there in SaberSims. So you can just kind of eyeball and see where you're different. You know, it won't say to what degree, but it will say where you're different from SaberSim and whether you're higher or lower. And I like to do that. I notice sometimes where I'll get like a whole column of green or red. And when that's the case, it's kind of an indication I've just kind of done something wrong, which is good. Or SaberSim has, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something to look for. But usually you'll get like a little bit of.
Here's a thing. I'm using SaberSim's projections for FanDuel.
Okay.
And with SaberScore, I'm only getting 66% DeGrom. So I'm going to guess.
Well, I'll tell you this.
When I run the Sims, it goes lower.
Yeah, I'm getting only 30.
Yeah, and maybe it's a price thing.
I'm getting only 30. And then with respect to the stack exposure, I'm not getting them too many 4-4s, but with team stacks, there are those Rangers again. Everybody loving the Rangers.
Yeah. Let's see what I got. Yeah, Rangers.
Oh, you know what?
SaberSim gets me to the Rangers too, and the Angels. But the pitching is great.
Yeah, the only thing that this screws up is again, like when they You see this thing up here on the top where it's got a little calendar icon or whatever? That means you're actually not in portfolio diversification mode. Like if you click on here on the plus over here and you see it, and you see this come here, you have this thing. That means you're in.
Right.
You're in the, and I don't know exactly what that all means, but we're gonna rebuild again.
I have 15% DeGrom on FanDuel.
So shows what I know, right? I mean, I'm like, oh, no matter what they do, you're just gonna get all the DeGrom. Okay, guess not.
I have got a little bit of everyone almost. My highest owned pitcher is Peralta at 18%.
What's Peralta's price? Oh my God, he's like 3,000 less. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
so
this is a price thing.
Less. Yeah, 11-2 is rough business. Can you get to? But we're getting to Sanchez, right? And
I'm getting less Sanchez than DeGrom, but about the same.
So is this gonna be one of those days where you get? No, I guess not. Like Fitz 700-800 against Colorado.
One thing we say about I have the same instinct as you to say, okay, it's a one pitcher site,
right?
So we're gonna get all the DeGrom because he's stands so above as the one pitcher. On the other hand, it's a one pitcher site. If you fade the top owned pitcher who does poorly, your leverage is even better than it is.
100%. Because like in DraftKings, like for example, the last couple of days there's been examples of that. Like Strider, for example, he was like 70% owned or something.
Yeah,
and he kind of busted. I mean, he definitely busted. But you know what? He was in most of the winning lineups anyway because like the second pitch, you need a second pitcher too. You know what I mean? Like you faded him there. Okay, so then what'd you do with it? What'd you do for your second pitcher?
Yeah.
You know? So, like you said, if you fade the chalk pitcher on a one pitcher slate, that's all you need. That's all you know.
Yeah.
Let's see what I'm getting on the FanDuel. Now this again, I'm gonna compare the portfolio diversification tool with not. And when I did it with regular, with just using min uniques, I was like you. I was getting. What were you getting at the end of the day with DeGrom? Like 15?
I was getting 15 DeGrom.
Okay, I was getting 30.
Stacks, I'm getting 22% Rangers.
These Rangers are
actually that's 4-mans. I'm getting 22% Rangers. Overall, I'm getting like 45% Rangers, 47% Angels.
Ooh, it's something about this game, huh?
It's something about the game, but I know I'm harping on the same thing. The more lineups we build, the more we should coalesce into the same stacks, no matter what projection set we use.
You would think so.
Yeah. Now 20,000 is still not that much in baseball, but
20,000 is not that much. Okay.
But it's 4 times as much as we were doing.
That's true.
So the more lineups we have, the more the Sims should take us back towards the same similar exposures.
Did you get any of that Miami on DraftKings again? Because I was getting that before.
Let's see. Miami. Yeah, they have a pretty good total, huh? 4-7 and a Brady Singer in Cincinnati.
I was getting like 20 of them when I pulled it up last time.
I am getting 18.
Okay, yeah, hey, that's going to be low owned, I think. Both
of the good stadiums go off early. Boston and Cincinnati.
Ooh, well, so in FanDuel, in portfolio diversification mode, pitching. Let's see. Well, first of all, in total exposure, like my highest owned player is Jose Ramirez.
Okay.
But as far as pitching goes, DeGrom only 22 in portfolio diversification was 22, then 16 Sanchez, 16 Yamamoto, and 11 Bybee or B, whatever, and then yet still, all of the Rangers. It looks like.
How much Jose Ramirez did you get?
34% or something.
Wow, 34% on a hitter in portfolio diversification.
Yeah, let's just see here.
He's going to be low owned and he's good.
Actually, and it looks as though I'm getting a lot of Toronto in FanDuel in diversification mode, especially in big buy-ins. Actually, I'm getting all of that. So, and Toronto, they project well too. So that's a little on the chart.
Yeah. The early games have you get like the good stadiums, the terrible teams. You got White Sox and Rockies. You give like all the good pitchings later.
What any showdown today?
No, there's nothing.
Ugh, brutal.
Nothing. I'll play like the night slate, unfortunately.
Okay, so here are guys that I'm already seeing as like day to day. Like, oh, here's a new thing. You click on DraftKings, it goes to a different spot. So here's the new game log. It looks like.
Yeah.
And if I want this, Edmund came out Sunday due to an ankle. I'm just seeing like guys that are showing up that I have to just keep an eye on. And those are all updated anyway, but I just like to see what's up. Myers exited, calf tightness.
There's a day-to-day on Teoscar too.
Yep, and Teoscar. Let's see what was on him. Just undergoing medical imaging on his foot. He was able to finish it out after fouling a pitcher off his foot, but he'll sit out one game while he gets evaluated. Okay, so Dodger guy to look out for, all these guys to look out for. And again, as I'm looking, just scrolling through, leaving 1,700 on the table here, 1,100 on the table here. Who is John Rave?
Oh, he's at Kansas City, right?
Yeah, some $2,100 guy from Kansas City.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at why be 1,700, where I'm leaving 1,700 on the table, where that's coming from.
And John Rave, why not?
John Rave. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're good, at least for an early look. So everybody, listen. Everybody, just kind of pay attention to this Texas Angels thing, especially when you use SaberSim, because it's very possible that there's just something in the inputs that is going to get changed, and you'll end up getting zero. It's very
it's also possible that everyone's getting it, and
that's true too.
It's going to be too high owned.
And it's going to be too high owned. Yep.
So that's another thing. And I was going to say, just everyone's going to ask our takes. I always get this, like, who do you like? All we did was process. So, use this as a way to go through your lineups later today and build them. But
wait a minute. What's his name? How did that pitcher do yesterday? Did that Reds pitcher go again yesterday?
Oh, the Chase Burns?
The Burns?
Did he?
I think he might have.
Let's see.
He had a very low, I think, like total or something.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good.
Okay.
He had 4 2/3, 7 strikeouts, 1 earned run.
Yeah, he had like a 4.5 strikeout prop. Adam posted that as one of his overs or something like that. Yeah, I'm like, that can't be only 4.5. I was wondering what was that.
He had one bad game and
yeah.
Now he's not good anymore.
Now he stinks. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're good to go. I will be here for sure at 5:30, and I guess you and I'll see you tomorrow at noon.
Yeah. See you tomorrow at noon.
Sounds good. Good luck, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.